I was just outraged, so I just thought I'd share my outrage with you.
With the
but you're quite right.
train.
No love train. There's no love on that train.
No, there
and no
isn't.
going to the toilet either.
Right.
Now listen, it's a confession, and into our collective we welcome for the first time Sister Lizzie Katie Susie. Lizzie's producing the show today and doing a fantastic job. Hello, Lizzie.
Hello.
Are you a forgiving person or
Sometimes, depends.
are you quite hard line?
Maybe. We'll find out.
Well, today's confession comes from Tommy Thomason. So we're going to call him Tommy, I think.
Yeah.
So Tommy Thomason says, Father Simon and the Collective, I ask for your forgiveness for my actions as the people I may have wronged. One I will never see again, probably, and another is sadly no longer with us. It all started in 2008 when I was working for the local council and was awarded Employee of the Year. For this, I received an engraved silver tray just big enough to hold 6 biscuits. So useful. I was also given the honour of representing the council at the Queen's Garden Party, and this was fantastic. However, I was a poorly paid team leader with 2 children and a mortgage. The rural council I worked for clearly thought public service is its own reward and the pay should be secondary, so I started by fixing a budget for the whole trip. What I forgot to factor in was my wife, very beautiful lady. She said she could not... There are elements of this confession which come from 1950, by the way.
Obviously.
Said that she could not go to the palace in any dress that she had, and a new dress was needed. And it certainly wasn't going to be something I bought off the market.
No,
I think that's fair enough. We duly had a day shopping in Birmingham, and she chose a beautiful pure silk number in powder blue. It was over budget, but my wife, as I mentioned, is a beautiful woman, so I agreed. What I didn't think of was the hat and the matching strappy shoes that would cost even more. By the time we came home, we'd spent double the original budget. So I turned to eBay for my suit. And there it was, in my size, and the winning bid of 14 quid, including postage, was made by me. It arrived and fitted perfectly. A top hat was ordered from China, cost 28 quid, another online retailer, and I was set. Shoes and shirt I already owned. Yes, it looked well worn, but it was what I could afford, and it fitted perfectly. It was very tattered, but I didn't mind. The weekend came for the big royal event, and down we went. Children were dispatched to the grandparents. We shuffled off onto the train, then the underground, and then to the hotel, where we booked in and changed. The 2 of us really looked the part. Well, my wife looked like a model, and I looked like someone who had worn that particular suit just about as much as I could get away with. We had some time before the gates opened, and as I had overspent already, I insisted that we walked all the way to Buckingham Palace. After all, it was only a mile, and the sun was shining. Near the palace, a young lady approached us both and asked, in a broad Texan accent,
Oh, yes. Here we go.
"Hey, guys!
Wow.
Hey, so where are you guys from?" We're from... and what are you here for? What?
No, that's great. No, carry on.
I answered honestly, "We're going to a party at the palace." "Gee," says the Texan, starting to sound just slightly annoying. Oh, you've heard. "How do you get invited to the palace?" At this point, Father Simon, I don't know what came over me. The woman was a little annoying, and I was feeling very happy. "Well," I said, the Queen is my aunt, and invites us every year." I tried to sound as casual as I could. "You mean you're the Queen's nephew?" the American exclaimed, producing a phone and snapping away fast. Yes, yes, I said. Can't get out of this now. Well, she says. Pounced, she did. Started taking selfies with us without so much as an introduction. So I made one. "This is Lady Helen. I'm, Lord Thomas." She actually curtsied.
Wow.
"It's just like Downton," she said. In that annoying high-pitched voice. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, it wasn't very Texan, that bit either. At this point, I realised that she would know everything about the royal family, so I hesitated, and then it hit me. So I said, "Prince Philip is my father's brother." Well, everyone knows the Queen and her family, but Prince Philip had just enough mystery, because it was a few years ago, for me to carry this off. This stopped the American for just a second. I believe the fact that my suit was clearly well worn helped reinforce this story. This was followed by lots more questions about growing up as a royal. Yes, and I answered, spinning an ever deeper and more complex web of lies. about playing sardines in the palace with Prince Edward and trips on the royal yacht with all of them.
All of them.
Just made an edit there.
All of them.
Over about half an hour and 1,000 photos, the American drunk it all in. When the gates opened and we walked in, I just tried our best to look like we'd done this many times before, and we just turned to see the American taking one last picture of us as we waved. Father Simon, clearly I need to beg the nation's forgiveness for deceiving the poor American and wasting her time taking selfies of essentially an unknown country boy who she was convinced was a bona fide royal. However, she had probably dined out for many years on the tale of when she met a royal at the palace, so I don't really feel too bad. I would ask forgiveness on behalf of the late Duke, from whom I stole some of his limelight for a short time, but I did bask in that borrowed fame for just a moment. Most of all, I beg forgiveness on behalf of my lovely wife, she's very beautiful and model-like,
yes,
who I made walk through the streets of London dressed to the nines in killer heels on a boiling hot day, and all because I was too tight to pay for a taxi, which I think we'd all spotted. Tommy Thomason, not Lord Thomas, as he falsely claimed. Probably if you impersonate royalty, you could probably get sent to the tower or something. Just wondering. Anyway, Sister Lizzie, Katie Susie, what do you say to Tommy Thomason?
I would like to say unforgiven. First off, making the wife walk in heels for a mile. That is just already straight away unforgiven,
Yes.
let alone the heresy that ensued after that.
Okay, so that is a very good point. Brother from another country?
I mean, obviously, having to walk that far, that's not good. However, what is the protocol exactly with demanding selfies with the royals? I don't think that's okay. So I'm going to say forgiven, just because of, the selfies thing. And also, it probably did make a day. Texan one went back, I met a royal. Brilliant. Made the holiday worthwhile, I think.
So you are forgiving?
I'm going to forgive, yeah.
Okay, slightly convoluted there, I thought. Okay.
Oh, there's a shock.
So, the people's verdict, please. On the text 61054, start your message with Simon. Do you forgive Tommy Thomason? It's 11 minutes past 6. Drive time from Greatest Hits Radio. Before Barry White was the Jacksons, of course, Can You Feel It? And then before that, we heard from Tommy Thomason with his confession, which basically happened at the palace, just outside the palace, where he pretended to be a royal, which is almost certainly a capital offence. But anyway, let's see what the people's verdict is. What do we get?
So Kirito says, I completely forgive Tommy, as it had absolutely no malice. Bella Madden there says, not forgiven. I don't forgive the walk in heels, as that's tantamount to torture. But making up the story of being the Queen's nephew is utter genius, and sustaining it for half an hour demonstrates great imagination and unflappability. But Manny, the London cabbie, says, not forgiven. You should never make a lady walk, but always provide her with a carriage. A London taxi.
There you go. Thank you very much indeed, Manny, the cabbie.
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear from you. If you have a confession and we use it, then you get a smart speaker. It's confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. Got a confession for us? We'd like to hear it. Because if we use it, you get a smart speaker. This seems quite a good deal to me. So today's smart speaker goes to Madame A. That's how Madame A signs this confession. Brother Matthew is here, and today's show being produced by Sister Lizzie Katie Susie, who's also, yesterday I thought you were quite soft.
Really?
Yeah. So maybe you could just toughen up a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try my best.
Fine.
Simon and the Blessed Brethren, says Madame A. My confession takes place in a very hot country. Back when my children were young and my husband and I were living the expat life as teachers in the aforementioned very hot country. As you can imagine, we became somewhat popular as a holiday destination for our friends back in Blighty, especially during the cold winter months. I mean, we could offer heat, beaches, and most importantly, free accommodation. Who wouldn't wanted to visit us? The answer is everybody wanted to visit us. It was during one such visit by a blue-skinned and winter-depressed friend that we decided to splurge and visit one of the posh beachside hotels to celebrate her birthday. As teachers, we were way off being ever to afford to stay at such a swanky establishment. But we figured lunch and a drink wouldn't break the bank too much, especially as it was a celebration. Anyway, the lunch proved to be a total disaster. Think lunch at Fawlty Towers and then some. Everything was wrong. We were seated in one restaurant only to be moved because a more affluent guest wanted that table.
What?
We were then seated in another restaurant serving a meat buffet before I reminded them that my friend was vegetarian. We had asked for a cake from my friend, but they lost it. How could you do that? Anyway, it's a good foodie Thursday confession. Anyway, we ended up giving up and going home. Well, after such a disastrous birthday lunch for my friend, I penned an email to the manager of said swanky hotel a few days later. I expressed my dissatisfaction how my friend's birthday had been utterly, utterly ruined by the experience. I did ham it up just a little. So imagine my surprise a month or so later to receive an email back from the manager of said swanky hotel, offering me his sincerest apologies and offering me and my entire family a weekend for free staying at the hotel. We were absolutely delighted and accepted with glee. We were even more excited when we got to the hotel for our free weekend to find we had been given a suite, free babysitter for a night, and also free meals in the restaurant. So this is sounding pretty good, don't you think? We certainly made the most of our weekend. The kids spent the day in the pool. We even invested in a giant inflatable crocodile for them. I didn't even know there was such a thing. Anyway, plenty of room in the suite to store it, you see. Things were not perfect, however. Otherwise, it wouldn't be much of a confession. On the last night of our stay, we were all woken up in the middle of the night by banging from the penthouse suite above. The banging was so loud, it sounded like there was someone drumming in our suite, and it went on for ages. Imagine the sound of a dozen bongo drums in your actual bedroom. Well, this was too much. I think maybe she'd got a little bit of an attitude here now. I'm in a penthouse, I don't have to put up with this.
Yeah.
In the end, we resorted to calling the hotel's security, who went up and had stern words with the guest, told him to stop drumming. Thankfully, whoever it was stopped drumming, and we all eventually went back to sleep. It was only in the morning at breakfast that we realised what the noise was. What do you think it might be, by the way?
Right, I was going to say, do they have a nightclub up there or something like that?
Well, standing next to us, no. Standing next to us at the breakfast buffet was 80s reggae star Maxi Priest.
Oh, Maxi Priest!
Max Elliott, known as Maxi Priest, out of Lewisham, one of only 2 British reggae artists to have an American #1, close to you. And he was very close to me. Anyway, it turned out he was due to perform on the hotel's beach that night with his band. It seemed that we had interrupted, or rather stopped altogether, his rehearsal in the penthouse suite the night before. He didn't look happy. So, of course, I do need to seek forgiveness from Mr. Priest and his band, believe it or not, his 12 bongo players, for stopping their practice sessions, especially as we mere teachers should never have been actually in the suite anyway. If he and they felt in any way under-rehearsed for their performance, it is entirely my fault. Most of all, I seek forgiveness from my friend, who until now never knew that we wangled a fancy weekend at the swanky hotel that messed up her birthday. I suppose my penance was the bongo drum alarm calls. Says Madam A, well, I think your friend will probably be quite forgiving because, I don't know, maybe they won't. But I can see what you're saying, and I think she feels bad about being rude to a superstar. Maxi Priest, did you know one of the only 2 UK reggae artists to have a #1 in America?
Yeah, I had heard that somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sister Lizzie, Katie, Susie, what do you say to Madame A?
I say that's completely unforgivable. I'm afraid you're given a free inflatable crocodile, was it?
Yes.
What more could you want? A bit of noise, a bit of drums. That's just like one of those apps that can help you go to sleep at night, surely.
What do you think so? Well, you get an app to play
drums now.
Full volume. Okay, so it's not looking good so far. Let's check in with
I remember staying in a hotel once and there was massive banging coming from upstairs, and when I found out the next morning when I went to the hotel reception, they told me, oh yes, that'll be the treadmills upstairs. Turns out the gym was above my bedroom. So I can absolutely empathise here with having Maxi Priest and the fleet of bongo drums above it, and it's not on. It's not on. Should have been practising down on the beach, shouldn't he, Maxi?
Do you think?
And the priest. So I am going to forgive
Maxi and the priest.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's kind of 1-1 in the studio. So it's entirely down to you. The people's verdict, please. I mean, Madam A gets the smart speaker, but does she get your forgiveness? On the text 61054. Start your message with Simon. You can email Simon at greatesthitsradio.co.uk. Tonight's confession came from Madame A in a very lovely hotel, but sleep disrupted by... Who knew it was going to be Maxi Priest and his band upstairs? Anyway, so it was very nice of Maxi to turn up in our confession. But the people's verdict is in, and here it comes.
Yes, everyone's forgiving tonight. Eddie says forgiven. They shouldn't be practicing that late. Vicky says forgiven just because you're a reggae superstar. The only British one, in fact, to have had an American #1 or some such.
One of two.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you don't adhere to normal rules of hotel etiquette. And Jason in Solihull says forgiven. I'm in a small band, and I often need to practice in hotels too. However, I usually pop next door to pre-warn other guests, and I give them free tickets to my gig as an apology.
That is a very, very good idea. Well, if you have a confession, maybe that sparked a thought. Maybe you have a story about an 80s pop star to tell us. Or maybe you don't. Anyway, confessions at greatesthitsradio.co.uk. That's where you send your confession. If we use it, you get one of those smart speakers.